Hey, what's up, everyone? It's episode 14 of the Hyperbolic Time Chamber Podcast, where we fit 15 days of content within an hour. Tonight, I'm your host, Jeffrey Louie, along with Ron Kauanoe and Thach. If you are new to this channel, we are a gaming and anime channel, so we appreciate you tuning in. And if you do enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, and subscribe to the podcast and give a 5-star review. It really helps us out because we are seeing growth and we really would like to thank you, everyone that's been supporting us thus far. I dare say we are on season 2 with episode 14 at this point because we've been riding this the last 13 weeks. So thank you guys so much for that. Otherwise, without further ado, I do like to bring out, let's see, our shout out to, as always, Anchor, who likes to hold it down for us. So thank you again, Anchor. And how you guys doing today, guys?
What's up? What's up? I'm doing
What's
great.
up?
Doing great.
We are at like 3 months of quarantine, so everyone's holding on. So
Yeah.
if we notice like our audio quality is a little bit shoddy sometimes with Discord disconnecting on us once in a while, but we're trying to hold it down. I feel like we're one of the only podcasts that's making like consistent content for a small channel too, because I noticed like a lot of the podcast channels I've followed, they've like stopped production like altogether. Maybe they make like one episode like once a month, it seems.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty sad.
Dude, can you believe that we've been doing this for 13 weeks? It's been crazy.
Yeah. Well, 14
Hey,
now.
that was not a
14.
coincidence. Yeah, 14, yeah.
So that's
I was
over.
not expecting us to get along so well after all this time. I thought we were going to start ripping necks out.
Oh, yeah, that's how we know we can work together. So that's rare to find too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing I like most about working with you guys. Like, no matter what, it's always going to be cool, and we still get together and do this, no matter what disagreements
we'll
or whatever. You know.
That's if any money pours in, then that's the problem. No, just kidding.
No, man, money's always the always the problem.
Exactly.
Yep.
So hopefully that doesn't scare us.
Yep.
But we've just been doing this as a passion project, so I hope that doesn't change. No matter what, if we find more success, so it'd be cool.
Yeah,
I mean, we have
absolutely.
over 14 hours of. I mean, we're gonna about after this episode, we'll have well over 14 hours of content because I know some episodes we almost did 2 hours. But yeah, why don't we start with gaming news? That's a cool to reflect a little bit at the beginning, but I know like Vu, you wanted to put some news input.
Yeah, definitely. I don't really have much news, but I do have a topic of discussion that I do kind of want to bring up with you guys a little bit here.
Okay, that's news for me.
And it's mainly more on like the sense of game sales. Game sales between Xbox One and PS4, their accumulated game sales in their lifetime, and the comparison between the two. So I was gonna compare maybe like the top 10 Xbox One and top 10 PS4 games, and I want to ask you guys what you guys think of. Let's start with Xbox One. Let's name your what do you think of the top 5 best-selling Xbox One first party and third party like combination? You guys think?
Good question. Xbox One games, I would say like their top 3
what do you think?
Would be Horizon.
Lifetime.
What is it? The racing game.
Forza Horizon.
Forza Horizon, and then
Right.
I would say probably Gears of War and Halo. I guess they're exclusives.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely Halo. Definitely Halo. Definitely Gears of War. What came out on Xbox One? Well, they all came back out, but I think Gears of War 4 did okay. And then I think the third one, Forza's a big seller, but I think it's Call of Duty, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's
okay. Those are reasonable thoughts. And what do you
probably is.
And what about the same for PS4? What do you guys think of the top 5 or 10 for them?
No. Now that you mentioned, Ron, like multi-console game, it probably is like Call of Duty within the last year.
It might be one of the Call of Duties for sure.
PS5, okay. I mean, Sony is so confusing because they have so many good exclusives, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they sell the best too. So it's kind of hard to tell. Like, you go, Ron, if you have your list. I'm thinking about it.
So I'm thinking PS4 stuff. Let's see. Definitely has to be a Call of Duty game for sure.
Call of Duty, okay.
Call of Duty because Call of Duty. It was one of the. Or are we talking about lifetime sales for the game, or are we talking about
lifetime sales for both systems?
Lifetimes.
I know for sure. I think one of the 3 spots is still Call of Duty, to be honest, because Call of Duty is always a big launcher every year and it sells over 1 million units. But I think definitely Spider-Man. Spider-Man might be top 5. I don't know about top 3, but I definitely think top 5 for sure. And then God of War sold well, but I think it's still top 10, but I don't think top 3.
Okay, so which of the two? Okay, of the two, which list do you guys want to hear first? Top 5. I have the Wikipedia of the top 5 right here, and it's going to be a little bit eye-opening, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go Xbox first, I guess.
Xbox?
Yeah, go Xbox, yeah.
All right, so we're going to go, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5, selling at 5.43 million, Xbox, the Xbox One edition of Minecraft.
I've totally forgot about Minecraft. Yeah.
Okay. Number 4, Red Dead Redemption at 5.7.
Ooh.
Call of Duty World War II, 6.23 million at number 3. Call of Duty Black Ops 2, 7.37 million. And number 1, Grand Theft Auto 5, 8.73 million.
Yeah, it has to be all multi-consoles. Yep.
I totally forgot. Yeah.
It's probably pretty similar to Sony, I'm thinking. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto is still selling good, even to this day. A lot of Twitch streamers stream it, and they do a lot of roleplay. So
definitely.
It's still a lot.
It's a great game.
Yeah, there's still a bunch of life in that game, and they constantly are updating the game every week. Or not every week, but it seems like every week. Epic just launched it as their free game for the month, I think.
Of Epic. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's true.
Yeah.
I picked it up.
Yeah, so I was just like, geez, all right, cool. I mean, that game's still got a lot of life. And I think it's gonna have more of a life than definitely Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, we should pick it up too.
Red
That's
Dead
a game
Redemption.
we can play online together.
Red Dead Redemption had a terrible online. I was so disappointed. I was hella excited to play the online for that game, dude. I was so excited, and then it was a big letdown, dude.
I think it was a botch launch.
I never touched it, so that sucks.
Yeah, that sucks. Anyway, so let's go into PS4. Let's do the top 5 for them.
PS4. I'm thinking it's gonna be a lot of multi-console again. All right, let's see.
PS4 is gonna surprise you guys. I was surprised. All right, so number 5 for the PS5, selling at 10 million, already blowing out Xbox. That's The Last of Us Remastered.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 4 at 10 million as well, God of War remake.
Okay, yeah.
Number 3, 11 million, The Witcher 3.
Oh.
The Witcher, yeah. Witcher killed it on PlayStation. It was one of the best-selling
Witcher
RPGs.
didn't come out on last gen. Yeah, Witcher didn't come out on last gen.
That makes sense, since Sony has a lot of RPG players.
And it was towards the beginning of the PS4. So that makes sense.
Yep.
And then number 2, Ron, what you were saying, number 2, Marvel Spider-Man at 13.2 million.
Dang.
Record it, yeah.
Marvel's, man, that's a lot.
Yeah. It was the most platinum game of all time, basically.
Was it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow, didn't know that. Yeah, that was a great game. I played that and the DLC.
Yeah, no, that's why it was the most platinum game of all time.
So, well, I think the Witcher show helped the sales of Witcher, I heard, as well. And that came out recently. That probably gave it an extra boost to put it at, second place at that point? Yeah.
Yeah. You guys want to put out a guess for another one? What do you guys think number 1 is?
Oh, man.
No.
Final Fantasy Remake.
No. I mean, it might get up there, but...
You guys haven't mentioned this game yet, so I don't know if you're going to say
Oh, we didn't mention it?
I love this game. Yeah, you guys didn't mention it yet.
Oh, snap.
Oh,
I love this game too.
Hold on.
You guys want a hint? We can play a little game. I'll give you a little hint.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah?
I'll take a hint. Ron, you can close your ears.
Hold up. Let me go look at my library real quick.
Okay, you tell me then. He's not going to hear it.
Okay. What's a hint that I can give you? Dang. Oh, wait. Naughty Dog. I'll just say that.
Oh, come on. It has to be Uncharted, right?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what hint to give you, but all right. Here's Ron. Let's see what he can figure out. Let's see what he has to say.
All right.
All right, go ahead, Ron.
I'm thinking.
One of the biggest selling games on PlayStation.
I think I know what it is now. Yeah.
Don't let our listeners hold them up.
Best selling.
Something to do with the dog, Ron.
I want to say it's Uncharted, but
yes, To Uncharted number one,
Okay,
16 million Uncharted, blowing out Xbox.
Is that
the reason I don't count that is because
that's like all the games together, or just
no, that's Uncharted 4.
Oh, Uncharted 4 alone?
Wow, okay,
Uncharted 4.
I was about to say, if it was Nathan Drake collection.
No. Not the collection. Just number 4 by
that
itself.
surprises me. Wait, well deserved. That game is really good.
Well deserved, dude. So, just from that, you guys want to try to make some predictions for future releases for PS5 and the next Xbox? Just seeing the sales numbers have such a big difference. One is more multiplayer and one is more single player, but people are always saying single player is supposed to die, but PlayStation is proving people wrong.
They killed it.
So let me delve deeper into that and ask you guys this question, a follow-up question.
Yep.
Why do you think why do you think PlayStation has sold more? Do you think that's because it had a better price point at the beginning? Do you think it's because it was a better launch overall? Because Xbox did have the always online at the beginning. Do you think that could have played a part in that?
Definitely, most definitely. I think it was a big train wreck for the start of the generation for Xbox. With the always online, with the higher price point, no one cared about Kinect. Yeah, they were almost way too full of themselves because they were so successful with the 360. So yeah, they shot themselves in the foot, and I think Sony just capitalized on everything you could do. And then, if you remember back then when Sony did this kind of like a skit that you could actually just pass your game off to a friend and they could play it. that was very powerful.
Yeah. That was with Shuhei and what was his name? Wasn't Greg? It was the other guy from PlayStation, the white dude with glasses.
I don't remember his name.
Yeah,
I don't remember. Yeah,
but yeah, that's what happened pretty much.
It was super funny. They're like, how to share your games on the PS4. Then they take the games. They're like, thanks. I love that commercial.
Yeah, they killed it.
Good. Yeah.
But one thing that I find really interesting is also with the exclusives. If you look at the exclusive between the two, obviously PlayStation exclusives were killing it, and everybody is expecting Halo 5 to have been the bestseller, but they only sold 5 million. So what do you think is going on with what do you think is going on with their first party titles? Why is it so hard for Xbox to compete with PlayStation and even to Nintendo at first party?
I think it's I guess it's just the way they went a new direction when they had Phil Spencer as CEO. Yep. So the direction he went with it is like, you know what, let's just embrace multi-console. Let's embrace being able to play anywhere on your PC, cross-buy and things like that. You buy a Xbox game, on the store, on the digital store, then you could download it on your PC, things like that. So I think that was a good direction to go because he already knew that they didn't have any deals for first-party developers. And I think even a studio that wants to make it exclusive for a game, they're going to pick, the audience that is bigger. So PlayStation 4 is definitely the bigger audience overall. I mean, I've heard that the Xbox One X have sold better than the PS4 and PS4 Pro near the end. That's because it's the strongest console right now, as of now, at the time of this recording. But yeah, I think it's just the fact that they don't have the user base like they did back in the 360 generation.
Yeah, and to add to that, I think it's because of the stuff that I brought up earlier and that you guys elaborated on. Xbox One had a very terrible launch. I even forget who the head of Xbox was. That dude with the brown hair.
I forgot.
That was super garbage. Don something, I think is his name, but he handled it horribly. Always online stuff, the way that they handled it. When Phil Spencer came out and was promoted to head of Xbox, I think everybody had that resurgence. That was that was already partway into the Xbox One's life cycle. But that botch launch definitely affected the sales of the Xbox One. With the always online, people didn't want that. Forced me to do something, I'm not going to do it. And people were just pissed, and they were like, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah," things like that. So that was detrimental. Plus the price point when it first came out, I think it was $5.99 versus $4.99, or it was $4.99 versus $3.99 or something like that.
Yeah,
and
something like that.
Yep, $100 difference.
It was $100 difference, and that was another nail in the coffin for the Xbox One on launch.
It's weaker too. Forget that it was weaker than the PS4.
It was weaker than the PS4, and it was ridiculous. So it was a lot of missteps on Xbox's part in the initial launch window of the Xbox One. PS4 and PlayStation, they capitalized it because they didn't want another PS3 launch, because that's what they did the previous generation. They had an extremely super expensive price point. People barely, people could afford it. Not too many people could afford it. It was like $600 on launch or some $500.
It was a luxury item. Yeah,
it was a very luxury console, and not too many people had it until the very end, like myself.
Same here.
It was super, super expensive, and it was just like, who's going to pay this absurd amount of money for it?
Yeah.
And so, and it didn't help that Xbox's their press conference was before Sony's, so like Sony had a little bit of playroom to be like, oh, they marketed it at that, let's undercut them $100. So
they had that leeway.
Yeah, but that initial launch that Sony had at the beginning, it was definitely strong because they captured that player base and they converted people over, like you were saying, Fu. They were known for just single player first party or single player titles, single player experiences where you didn't need online, things like that. Then they started working on their infrastructure because PS3 was free and PlayStation Network, it was free, so that kind of got people in. But
that definitely got me in.
Yeah, when the next generation came out, basically they were like, "Oh, hey, we're gonna charge, but this is the kind of stuff we're gonna have discounts and stuff like that." But that kind of helped them because that kind of formed their multiplayer aspect. So they had the best of both worlds, single player and multiplayer. And then that install base that switched over from 360 to PlayStation, that could have helped. Or people that played Nintendo that wanted a serious console, that helped too. They switched over and bought a PlayStation as well as a Nintendo Switch, or from a Wii U, basically. But that helped a lot too, I think. And then you see that kind of turn around towards, like, right now, probably the last couple of years, Xbox has kind of slowly been gaining. But I think at one point Xbox was selling PlayStation was selling Xbox Ones, I think 2 consoles to 1. And with it was crazy because you're seeing
Nintendo already beat them too.
I think they beat Xbox. Yeah,
they already beat them, and they came out way. Yeah, they came out way after. So
Switch is killing it, especially around now. I think it's still probably a hot item to find.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
COVID times.
You got people charging like $400 for literally the base model of the Switch, or not the base model, the Switch V2, and I'm like, all right, well, definitely people out there scalping, trying to make a profit on this.
Yeah.
When people, and hey, if people pay $400, that's up to them. But
it's their money.
Yep, it's their money. If they want it, you're paying for that. You're paying that fee.
Yep.
So, but
then one more point I want to bring up with you guys is that Xbox has over PlayStation. Real quick, for their subscriber count on Xbox Game Pass, how many people do you think they have subscribed on there right now?
Maybe.
I think they have like maybe 400,000.
400,000. How about you, Jeff?
Good.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll say.
What do you think?
I'll say 300. I guess. 300,000.
Okay, you guys are about to get mind blown right now.
Is it over a million?
They have 10 million subscribers on Game Pass.
Oh man, I think it's
so.
That has to be skewed.
Wait, how many people have an Xbox One?
I know, right?
Well, it's not even Xbox. It's a combination of Xbox and PC.
Oh,
because Game Pass is available on PC.
Ah, man.
So what I want to get, that's what I want to get. The point across is like the money that PlayStation is making in all these single player games, and all the money that Xbox is making through Game Pass. Do you think the shifting towards this Game Pass subscription model is a lot better? Having 10 million subscribers, paying you $5 a month, you times that, however much that is every month that you're getting.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that's way worth it than having these sales of games?
Subscription's better.
Because you're making 10 million. What is 10 million times 5? How many millions is that?
That's a lot of zeros. Right? That's a lot of zeros.
50 million a month. $50 million a month they're making on Game Pass.
That's pretty good.
That's more than.
Wait, you said 10 million times 5, right?
10 million times 5, because it's $5 a month is the minimum.
Yep.
Yeah. So
that's
good.
Using like that Tim Cook Apple type philosophy is just making everything a subscription base, which is like not a bad thing because they have a good ecosystem themselves with the PC.
PlayStation
and the
does,
Xbox.
but they do, but their subscription process is kind of bad. Like, I think Xbox has a way better subscription service.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely agree. If PlayStation brings it up, I think they can.
Oh yeah,
They cannot do them.
PlayStation's is terrible. I don't like Play Now because most people's internet's not that great. So
Yeah,
the subscription services that Xbox has been offering is like really good. I mean, even I'm tempted to want to subscribe to Game Pass. It's so like if I didn't have a backlog, I already have a backlog of games I already own, so I don't really need to subscribe to it. But I could see a lot of people who don't really buy games and just like want to pay, what is it, about $5 a month on PC?
$5 a month,
and it's like up to $15 a month if you want the PC and Xbox of games.
Yeah, the ultimate. Yeah, you want the ultimate.
So, and you get the Xbox Live Gold with it too, so it's a pretty decent deal. If you didn't have that, so.
That's including 2 free games a month too.
Yeah. That's Xbox Gold plus Game Pass.
If you get the ultimate, But I think it's skewed because they do have a lot of deals that they entice people, and I've subscribed for a couple months that they give you the first month for like $1. I think that helps for people to, maybe it's not skewed, but it helps for people to try out the service, and they probably just end up keeping it because I felt that temptation, like, oh, it's pretty decent service. You could just like, it's like a price of a Spotify, account or whatever.
Yep. Well, even if it was skewed and it was maybe half the amount that they're saying, maybe even 5 million subscribers a month, that's still a boatload of money, regardless.
That's a lot for properties they
own. Exactly. Every month. You don't have to release a new game.
The way of Netflix.
And that's the thing too. I think that's why Xbox, in the first half, is like that meme, like PlayStation. You had us in the first half, but then Xbox came around and literally introduced Game Pass, which they did so well. I think at first it was kind of expensive, but I think they adjusted the price model. But now it's like it's affordable. People love it, and it's one of those things where, like you said, it's a recurring kind of thing. So, would you rather pay $60, get that one time, or would you rather charge, $15, $30, $5 even, and get that recurring over and over and over? And that's, I think, the new business model is that subscription where it's like, I always call it the Keurig method. As time has gone along, long story short, it was, originally you get an item, $60. Basically, that's the sunk cost. After $60, you're done. That's a complete game. Then you'd pay again when the sequel or something else came out. Then it switched over to the, I think it was more of like the MOBA, like a League of Legends. It was kind of like free to start, but then you can make microtransactions, things like that. Right. Or no, sorry, before that it was like expansion. So hey, we're going to give you the game for $60 or whatever the price is. Hey, if you want extra content, we're going to have the separate. You can buy it, not buy it. We don't care. Definitely, that's another model, and that happened after the original one. So they're like, oh, you want this extra content? Yeah, we'll charge you like $20, and then you can buy this extra content. Then it went to the MOBA strategy where it was like free to start or free to play. They charge you either in-game currency for certain items, skins like that, and that's the kind of evolution that the business is taking. The business model is now give the game away for free and charge you on the back end and make that recurring kind of service happen. Fortnite, they've advanced that kind of free to start model and have turned it into a subscription kind of thing where basically you have the option. The battle pass. You have to buy it. You don't have to buy it. Do you anything. But that's the new kind of thing. I think the new business model is basically you give the game away for free, you charge them this, and now you can basically have all this stuff, and that's kind of a recurring thing. But I think the next step might be a subscription thing where basically the game is free, like Game Pass, but you pay a monthly service like GameFly, things like that. GameFly, it was that rental service. It was kind of ahead of its time in that aspect where you just pay a month. I think they're still around.
Yeah, they are.
In small amounts because they still do physical stuff. They still do physical stuff that you can rent stuff a month. But I think with this digital kind of thing, like you pay $5 digitally a month, and then you have access to the entire catalog.
That does kind of kill GameFly though. Game Pass is.
It does. Good. They can't. Yeah, because you don't have to wait for it to get delivered in the mail like you do with GameFly. It's or however long it takes to download your game.
That's crazy. Yeah. I do want to add what Ron was saying though. Like I did read an article, and ironically, you worked at GameStop, so I've read an article where GameStop is the reason why they're dying too is because games like Fortnite, Apex, all these battle royale games like Call of Duty Warzone, all these games of service like Overwatch, because people are like just buying a multiplayer game and just playing that for years, the casuals. So they're not buying any games. They just spend probably a little bit of money to buy skins on Fortnite or something like that, and they're not trading any games anymore.
Yep.
I'm sure you probably noticed the difference. You've been working at GameStop for a while. So that's why GameStop's kind of dying, because games like Fortnite, I mean, look at the appeal. Like you said, it's free to download. You play it for years. You probably only played that one game for like the past few years. I've known
like
people.
season 7 or 8 right now on
No,
Fortnite.
they're over 10 now. They're over 10.
Over 10, yeah. So over
Yeah.
10 years then.
No. Since 2016.
When did they come
4
out?
years.
2016?
I think they do their seasons as like 2 or 3 month splits. I
Yeah.
think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
like 3 months, every 3 months or so.
Yeah.
So-
I don't play that much Fortnite, so okay.
I haven't touched it in months, but the last time I played it was probably season 10. So I'm thinking they're like they're well over season 10 now. But
Wow,
yeah,
okay.
so they're still making I would say a steady amount of money. And games of service is definitely the way these companies are going. It's kind of killing creativity because I'm getting sick of battle royale.
Yeah, I know. That's why games like God of War and all those single player games are doing so well, because people who are tired of playing those games that over and over, and you want something a little bit refreshing. I think that's where Sony has that corner, that edge against everyone else that nobody can compete with right now.
Yeah. But let me ask you guys then. So, Jeff, you said it was going to kill creativity just because everybody's going to release some sort of battle royale variant and release it like. But do you see in the future? I mean, they've already started selling stuff digitally, but with the introduction of Game Pass is kind of like a Pandora's box. We've seen it happen in the past with certain things, but it hasn't been as big as it is now. But do you think we'll see some sort of, basically going forward, just Game Pass-esque all across the board, whether it be PlayStation 4, PC, Nintendo, things like that?
Yeah.
Everything's going subscription.
Everything. The only company right now that needs to go to subscription and then kill it is Valve, Steam.
Oh,
if they do a subscription on all of their titles, like, because they have millions of games on Steam,
at least their own titles, like Portal 2,
their own titles,
Dead, whatever.
They can start off with the Orange Box 2 here. Join our subscription, $10 a month. We'll start you off with this, and then every month new games and stuff like that. Like, they can easily kill it on PC and destroy Game Pass. Like, Steam got it.
Yeah, they do, but their library is not that big. They'll probably add something more on top of it. Maybe.
Well, they can add third-party games too, just like Xbox does, because not all of Xbox Game Pass games are first-party.
Yeah, that's true too. Like, I'm sure they have some other properties as well. And then, like, I know they have Steam's been doing the game of service for a while. I mean, I'm sure Team Fortress 2 is still decently alive. CS:GO is very popular.
CS:GO,
still.
Dota.
Yep, Dota 2. That's why they don't really make games anymore, because they're making money off their games of
raking in the cash.
Yeah, that's
they're cash cows.
Yeah, that's why we don't see a Half-Life 3, because it's really not profitable for them. I mean, it'll sell a lot, but then it's not really going to make money than what's already they have in place.
Yeah, it's like a sunk fund. Basically, you get that one-time payment, and then you're done. But a lot of companies are like realizing, like, hey, maybe that one-time payment isn't the way to go now. Maybe we should start looking at other business opportunities. Yeah. And I mean, I don't blame them if they're look at Fortnite. I mean, I don't play Fortnite. I played it when it was like season 2,
way back.
But literally, it's one of the. I definitely give it props because it's changing the game for sure. Like, whether it be bringing it again, like those digital concerts, those virtual experiences, or it's just a business model. Like, they are kind of pioneers or spearheads, at least, of this: give a game away for free, charge them on the back end, and you get that recurring kind of subscription. And it's literally, they're making money hand over fist. Instead of that $60 payment one time, they're making it over and over and over and over and over. And it's ridiculous. And that's why I believe that they kind of can do these kind of virtual experiences, because they have enough cash to basically pay these people and be like, yo, come over.
They do.
So we can make our game even more hype and things like that. So it's definitely interesting to see where the industry is headed for sure, just because, it's still evolving, and, we might not see basically as much physical games depending on the subscription or the business model going forward, because people might either scale back on physical copies, or people might just switch over to the digital just because it's not only easier, they might make it cheaper, or they might just be, available online where you, instead of buying one game for $60, you can have, 7 or 8 months worth of online rental service that you can play this game that you wanted to buy for $60, and then all these hundreds of other games for this one price, so it's like a digital kind of blockbuster. So
that's true. I mean, I don't prefer subscription. I don't know about you guys though.
Nope.
But I will say, just to tread back on Fortnite, on what it brought to the table, the most positive thing, in my opinion, that Fortnite brought was cross multiplayer and the mainstream into popularity. Where
that was cool.
That is the best thing that came out of it. Rocket League was one of the first to do it already.
Yep.
And then Fortnite pretty much took it home. And then now you have AAA titles like developers, like Call of Duty. They made their recent Modern Warfare game fully crossplay with PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And that's like the best thing that came out of Fortnite for me. Yeah, they killed it with that. But for me, just I'll ask for your opinions about it too. You guys, do you guys prefer like the subscription model, or do you like the way because I think games they take kind of a long time to play compared to like having a subscription model to songs, because you could just listen that a few minutes. You could watch a movie within an hour, but games take like hours and hours. So it's kind of like you might only play like one game out of that whole month, and then that's not really worth the subscription, in my opinion.
I can see it being both worth it and worth it, because for me, like right now, it depends on what I'm playing. If I'm like right now, if I'm not playing a game that's on Game Pass, then it's not worth it, because I'm not, I'm playing whatever other game I'm playing on Steam or PlayStation, and I'm not getting my money's worth. But if you can't afford to be buying other games on other systems, and you're reliant or okay with playing, whatever they release, I think it's a great deal for $5 a month, because instead of paying $60 for one game every month, you get multiple titles for $5. So
that's true.
It just depends on the situation.
Yep, not everyone has a huge backlog. Maybe they just got in to like the new console. They have no games, and then that's a good start.
Yeah, exactly. And then for me, I'm I'm a physical collector. I like having things
me too.
Tangible, just because when you click that end user license agreement, the EULA, they can pull it at any time whenever they want. Depending on not how they feel, but just for any reason, they have that right to pull it off the shelf. True. A good example is Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim was a great game on 360 and PS3. You can't find it. PS4, PT, the playable trailer, that was kind of like a Silent Hill kind of thing, got pulled off. You can't download it. If you have it, I don't think you can play it anymore.
Isn't those PS4s being sold for like hella money now?
I think
the ones with that game,
the ones with PT on it, I think it's like like $600 or $700 or something like that.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2 that was on the PS3 and Xbox 360.
Yeah,
that got pulled too, and those are rare to find. Even if you found a code that wasn't happened to be used, it expired just like this past year, I think too.
Exactly.
So that's crazy. And speaking of PT though, I think there's rumors of Kojima being contracted by Konami to try to make still another Silent Hill game, I believe, or some type of horror game. So there's talks.
I heard something about that too.
Yeah, that was from like a few weeks or a month or two ago. But if that's true, that would be pretty awesome. I looked at Kojima's Instagram. He hasn't posted for a while. Maybe he's working on something. He's working on something during quarantine. He's too busy. Pray. He's not posting anything on social media right now. He was posting a lot.
That's true. I haven't seen. Yeah, he was posting like random stuff all day.
He was.
He hasn't posted anything.
Yep. Yeah. He was trying to promote Death Stranding for the longest time. And even after Death Stranding, he was posting a lot. So he must be busy with something, I'm sure.
Yeah. And even if it's a new entry, definitely, depending on how they go about it and how the industry goes, PS5 going forward, like you guys were talking about, like Vu said, with the subscription-based model, it's definitely good and bad. It's got its pros and cons. With a person that, just bought a PS5, they just saved enough just to get the PlayStation, now they're working on games. Hey, for $5 a month, that barrier of entry is low. That person can afford playing that new potential Kojima Silent Hills. As opposed to, I have to save up $60 to buy that one game, basically. And that's the reason I like the subscription model, because back when we were growing up, literally, you had to save all your money. Yeah, you had to save up all your money to basically get this game, or you had to ask
all year.
Exactly. And after the game launches, it might be like 6 months after it launches, then you finally got it and you had enough. With the subscription-based model, I think it's good because...
And all your rich friends spoil the ending for you.
Exactly.
You know what? That's so cool. Kids are so... I hate to sound like a boomer, but they're kind of spoiled right now because there's so many free-to-play games. When we grew up, there's no free-to-play games. We're similar age, so we probably grew up playing like Smash Brothers on the 64. And I remember begging my dad, like, could you please buy this game? And like my family was at that time, it's like we were very
Oh,
poor at
man.
the time. So my dad, like, really, he surprised me. Like the next day, that's like the only game he bought me
Oh, that's cool.
ever. Like,
Yeah.
so I was like really good memory as a little kid.
I have
Like,
so many memories of
so-
my parents buying games for me, dude. I remember trying
yeah,
to convince my mom to buy me Grand Theft Auto Vice City. The girl was on the phone with her. It's like, you want to pay for this game? It's M-rated. How old is your son? And
oh my
I was like,
god.
just buy it, mom. Don't worry about what you have to say.
Don't worry. You know I'm good for it. It's M-rated. It's okay.
And I eventually get it. Like, okay, cool, thanks.
I am mature. I am mature.
Uh-huh.
Mature.
I am mature. Yeah, don't worry
Years
about
beyond
my
my
age.
But yeah, I know. But that's always the goal, though. It's all as generations go on, you always want to help out the next generation succeed. You want to make, I guess, take less of a burden off for them. You always want to help out the next generation any way that you can and make it better for the next generation and leave it better than you found it, kind of thing. And I think that's the good thing about the free to play kind of stuff, because with all these developers that have been working on these games, things like that have been adapting, I think it's good because you have those people like us that literally didn't have money growing up, that always wanted that AAA game, but they couldn't afford it. Whether it's financial hardships or just certain situations that they're living in. And to see these kind of free to play games, it's definitely a good thing because, again, with that barrier of entry, that being it low, you have anyone that has access to your hardware. Basically, they don't need any extra kind of money to play. All this cosmetic stuff you can pay for, but it's not necessary. And just to play the base game, that's the cool part about the free to play model, is because you have all these people.
Donation process. You get to put yourself in.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's just like, hey, that's why you have this many people playing this one game, because it's free. Otherwise, we might not see as big of an install base just because the point of entry is kind of high and they can't afford it. So it's good to see, most important thing is everybody playing a game. And that's the cool part. That's a super cool part about the free to play games. So, but yeah.
Speaking of free to play games, though, what games have you guys been playing? Any of them been free to play recently?
Okay, all right. I'll talk about a free to play game that I've been playing for the last month or two. Like, I've been playing it nonstop, and that's League of Legends. Like,
oh yeah,
I don't know, you guys.
Yeah, you have been.
I've been trying to get you guys to play, man. Yeah, I've been playing League of Legends, 1-2 games at least every day. Oh, it's dude, you just play with me, man. It'd be awesome to squad up with you guys. It's free to play.
I'll try sometime next week. I'll try to play with you.
Yeah. Download it and we can talk about it. It's a great game to play, especially in quarantine, dude. It's excellent to play with your friends in quarantine.
My other friend's playing it too. He could teach me the ropes as well. He's been playing.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So,
you can group up.
Yeah, that's.
Ron, don't you play too? I think you said you played as well.
I did. I stopped for a while. I think it's been like 5 years.
The last time?
Show me the
How long?
I think it's been about 5 years since I played it. I
dude,
played it.
Me too.
I played it since the beginning of season 2, and I think they're on like season 7 or something like that. But I used to play it along. I remember my friend, he told me about it. He was like, "Yeah, you play this game, League of Legends." I was like, no, it doesn't look like my type of game."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Come on, man, just try." I was like, "All right." And then literally for I think 5 years straight, I played it. I think I played it from 2010 to 2015. And
wow!
Like, man, yeah. So
it's a good thing, dude.
It's a good.
Who do you main? Who do you usually main?
I've went through a bunch of stuff. So initially, I started off with Ashe because Ashe is the default training character. So I played her, but
She's
then
awesome.
I figured out, I'd use her, but I'd go close up and start shooting people with her bow. And she's a range character, so that doesn't make any sense. So I was like, I kept getting killed. I was like, huh. Then I asked my friend, I was like, so what other characters? He's like, you should try this guy, Master Yi. He's close combat. He's a brawler kind of person. So definitely you want to try that if you want to get up close and personal. So I tried him. And then, so I was like, all right, cool. Then I found my way to top. I started out at top. I think my first character up there was Renekton. It was Renekton.
Oh, okay.
So I started off with
Renekton.
Crocodile. Crocodile alligator guy. Yeah, for sure. I started off with him, played the crap out of him, and then I was like, I need somebody different. And then so I switched over to a bunch of other people. Aurelia, when she first was out. Riven. Xerath at one point.
You played a lot of characters.
I played a bunch of the original characters. When Jace came out, I remember when Jace came out.
Oh yeah,
he was so OP. He was so good. And so I ran, dude. I'd wreck top with him. But yeah, no, I played a bunch of that. But then, I transitioned. There's 3 lanes: top, mid, and then bottom lane. So I started off at the top, then slowly started making my way down, going through jungle, playing mid. And then I tried AD carry, and I was just like, my creep score wasn't as high because creep is a big part of that game if you want to farm items and stuff like that, or have enough gold to farm items. But I wasn't doing it right, and so I was like, you know what, I'm done with this. I ended up, I think the last 2 years, I ended up maining support, and so that's all I play now. Is literally I'm a support that plays like a top character, and literally I'm so aggro.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
that's interesting that you're support now, because that's what I mainly play too. I used to play a little bit of mid, but now I play Sonya support all the time. But she's good at support. In the beginning, she's super like weak and so mana hungry. She's pretty lame. But if you're support with her and you roam, and as you grow and you build that gold, her late game starts to get unbelievably.
If she gets fed, or basically she snowballs towards the end of the game, because it's like that ramp is basically, it's super high, but basically as you get late game, like you said, literally she could start silencing people, things like that.
Dude, her abilities and able to heal your teammates, and her cooldowns are so fast. You just boom, 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 and
with the right items, you have the cooldown on lock. Basically, it's just like spamming it kind of thing.
Yeah. How many characters do they have on League of Legends? I know they have
over 100.
Over 100 now.
Over 100 characters now.
I'm sure a lot of them are not really viable for competitive. Like, what are the top characters?
I mean, some are more meta than others. It always changes depending on new character releases and stuff like that. It changes, but all the characters are pretty viable. Honestly, Riot does a pretty good job of balancing all their champions.
That's cool.
So.
Speaking of Riot though, I've played Valorant. That's their new game.
How's that one?
Dude, I've been curious. I haven't played that. How is that, dude?
Yeah, it's only for closed beta invitation. Yeah. So they mainly give it to Twitch streamers. So I was lucky to get one. So I was like, nice. Sweet. I got it like a week or so ago, and I played a few hours of it. Yeah, it definitely reminds me of a mix between Counter-Strike and Team Fortress, or I mean Overwatch, things like that, with the class base and stuff like that. It has kind of MOBA elements a bit with the characters.
Yep.
But yeah, it's pretty fun. I mean, if you're a Counter-Strike fan, you'll definitely love playing it. I'm more of an Overwatch fan, but I like the class-based element of the game because
there's a little bit of powers, right?
They have ultimates. Bit, right? They have ultimates.
Yeah, ultimates.
They have if not more powers, then that's what's in Overwatch. So it's kind of very strategic, because you have characters that are like a healer. Others there's a character that has like poison effect, and then there's a character called Phoenix, which is my favorite character to play. Pretty much he would shoot like fireballs off the corners, and then his special is that he would turn in pretty much like a phoenix. He could go out in a limited set of time, and then once that time limit is off, or if you get killed, he revives himself like a phoenix. So that's a cool ultimate.
Okay. He has a built-in Phoenix down.
Yep, yeah, pretty much. And then that's dope. Yeah, it is pretty dope. And you can kind of heal yourself too. Yeah. Because let's say Phoenix, he throws like a wall of fire. If you walk into that fire, obviously enemies will get damage to it. But if you walk into the fire, you actually heal yourself. So they got like some self-healing. It's pretty sick game. It kind of takes all the popular shooters right now are Counter-Strike still, Overwatch, and then you have Rainbow Six Siege. And it kind of took all those elements and put it in Valorant. So they're planning to release it sometime this summer, full release.
Dude, we gotta try it when they come out.
Yeah, when it does a full release, it's pretty sick. I think Riot Games, you could tell they're going to go for the long haul. I mean, they still support like Legends, just like Blizzard when they make their games. They'll support it for a long time, games or service wise.
Yep.
There's some interesting aspects about Valorant too, like you were saying, like has a lot of DNA from League of Legends, because I watched a video and I noticed that the way their map is placement is like lane placement, kind of like League of Legends.
League of Legends, yep.
There's a mid, left, and right, or top and top and bottom. But it's like its own way of doing it, which is pretty interesting.
Overwatch is a little bit like that too. Feels a bit MOBA-esque.
Yeah. And Riot is also releasing other games too. They're supposed to be working on like a fighter, like I think Street Fighter style fighter, and a bunch of other stuff that they're planning on working on. So there's a lot of new news. So from those news games, I was just gonna say, like, from that new game, like there was like the new release this week about what was it, Tony Hawk?
Oh,
I know you guys wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, let's start talking.
And
I
want to get your guys' thoughts about the remaster.
Because we've been talking about games of service games. Let's talk about some standalone games that we want to highlight. What's he said? Tony Hawk's one of the new ones. Remake. Bringing out the skaters. I've seen the memes about it. Like when you're 30 and you're. Oh, it looks like we lost Vu for a second. Oh, yep. Back. Vu, they're testing.
Are you a robot?
Yeah, we lost video for you for a second. That's okay.
Me there.
I was just mentioning like the memes about Tony Hawk. That was like the how I learned to learn of the game, and pretty much people saying when you're 30 and you hear the new Tony Hawk game is coming out and everyone's coming out of retirement because they start putting their skater gear on. I'm like, dang.
Oh my God.
Let's do it.
Y'all about to see me on my longboard. I'm gonna throw my bike away.
Yeah. Yep. You gotta start skating with me. You know, I've been trying to do that. That's crazy, dude. So yeah, right. I have some good memories from playing Tony Hawk Underground 2 on the PS2, and that was one of my first online gaming experiences, at least on the console wise, along with like Resident Evil Outbreak. But I remember like playing that game for hours, and just like skating with people and like playing skate against people. I think. In a way, kind of like voice chat. It's pretty sick. So I'm pretty excited about it. I haven't played. I don't really play skating games anymore, but maybe this one will interest me. The remake. What do you think about it, Ron?
It's dope because I still remember going over to my buddy's house. I never owned it, but I'd always go to my buddy's house, and that's all we'd play. We'd either play sports games or skating games. And then after playing skating games, I had fond memories of actually going skating and doing all these like kind of X Games, extreme sports kind of stuff like that in real life. So it had a big influence on my childhood because we would always play Tony Hawk. We'd always play Tony Hawk, Dave Mirra, but any of those like extreme sports, and we loved it, especially Tony Hawk 2, Tony Hawk 3. Definitely big influence on my childhood just because I think I have Tony Hawk 2 still on Game Boy Color. But I love the Warehouse. The soundtrack, I think,
great. Yeah,
it influenced rock music too. Yeah, it was one of those things where it kind of brought everybody from different walks of life, and you see, I think especially like our generation, we have like that kind of mold of different genres of music, whether it be like rap, hip hop, rock, punk rock, ska, literally any of that kind of stuff. I love
music. No.
Yeah, mix of everything nowadays. Yeah.
I think it's due to that game, just because they had a mixture of everything, whether it be like hip hop, punk, ska, all that kind of stuff. Molded into one soundtrack, and it made the game great. And it was just one of those things, and it just improved every iteration. I remember Thug and Thug 2, still literally one of the greatest soundtracks ever. And it's just one of those things where it's just like it's fun. It's fun. It's one of those fun experiences that I remember for childhood, outside of Pokemon and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to
towards it too. But I'm gonna be honest, I didn't have much. I didn't play much Tony Hawk as a kid growing up on the PlayStation, so I don't really have a lot of nostalgia for that game series. I did play a little bit of, I think, Project 8.
Okay,
that one was pretty cool, just fun skater game. But I'm excited to try it out. The only skating game I really got into was Skate 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I really got into those games because I know the Tony Hawk series is a lot more button mashy and arcadey. And I mean, that's cool, but I don't, we'll see when I get into it. But I love the way that Skate does it with the flicks and like the actual real motion controls. So I really hope Skate, makes a Skate 4 because I would definitely play that. That's what I want to play.
Yeah.
It must have gotten saturated because we haven't really seen a skateboarding game in a while. So this is a perfect time for a Tony Hawk remake.
Plus, the last Tony Hawk game was garbage.
Yeah, Pro Skater 5 wasn't great, and it was kind of a disappointment because coming from Xbox 360 and PS3, like Skate 3 was the pinnacle of skating, and that was like the new kind of Tony Hawk for that kind of genre, or that kind of
the reawakening of skateboarding games.
Kind of the reawakening for that generation, just because we were in a drought of good Tony Hawk games. I mean, Project 8, don't get me wrong, it's okay. Not the greatest, but it was okay. But when Skate came out, oh my gosh, I was like, bro,
I was hooked.
I'm like playing like Tony Hawk again, and it felt like it. And with the realistic motion controls, like you said, with the flicks and stuff, like to do a kickflip, like you actually have to flick the actual
joystick. I remember,
And it's
I'm
one
sure
of those
the controls are going to be like that for Tony Hawk then.
I'm hoping, if they do it right, yes, for sure.
I don't
It'd
know
be real innovative for them.
Yeah. Be good for the series. I remember Skate being fun. I didn't play like 3. I think I played Skate 2 from EA. But yeah, definitely something to look forward to. I do want to highlight. I mean, we are running out of time, but I do want to highlight a game that is more like not very known though, and I've been playing recently. Sakura Wars. Have you guys heard of that?
Sakura Wars.
Yeah.
Title, right?
Yeah. So it is an old title that dates back all the way in like '96 on Saturn, Sega consoles. So it's kind of a weird title. It's a JRPG, but let's say it's 70% more like visual novel, and then 20% just kind of exploring, and then 10% fighting. So it is more of a kind of a visual novel dating sim game. You have, let's say, you're the main character who is a male. It's not very progressive. That's probably what won't be too popular in this era. But and it has it's like a harem, like an anime harem. You ever see like Hina back in the day? So all the warriors, they're badass chicks that mech fighters, right? And he is the captain of all of them. And then you kind of like choose which girl is like your favorite at the end, like who you get along with the most. Things like that. It's kind of like a pretty generic kind of like visual novel from Japan, but it's very unique in itself where it's not too fan servicey, so it's not very like you know how like anime could be a little pervy, but this one's actually pretty clean, pretty wholesome. So the storyline's pretty decent, and then it's just mainly if you like any type of game with great character interactions and you like sort of like character development a bit, that's always up my alley. I love like the whole journey of it with like certain characters, and the comedy is a little cliche.
You get to see the characters grow as you play as them too.
Yeah. You know their backstory and stuff like that. I'm super character driven whenever it comes to any type of game, so I think that's why I like it a lot. The only time they actually released Sakura Wars in the U.S. though was Sakura Wars So Long My Love that came out on the PS2 and the Wii. I'm not sure if you guys heard of it. Really underrated. Like, and now it's been over 10 years, and they finally just released Sakura Wars for the PS4. And that is, a reboot. So this is a soft reboot for them. So if you like, the only type of combat though is that they changed is that in the original ones they were like strategy RPGs like Final Fantasy Tactics, but in this one it's more action RPG. So it plays more like a Final Fantasy 7 or whatever kind of.
Probably do it more for the West.
Exactly. More for the West, They want to win the West over, even though the first game that came out in the West. What I talked about, the last one from 10 years ago, was based in New York. So they really wanted to kind of win the Western audience for it. But
I see that.
Yeah, so I think it sold okay in Japan. But I'm hoping that this game, if whoever's listening to you hear about Sakura Wars, I have been streaming it on my Twitch on 350Z time, and I streamed a good amount of it. If you want to check it out at the time of this recording, if it's still there. But yeah, this game is it's so underrated. It's so good. It's definitely a game, but even like streaming it, a lot of people enjoyed watching it because you could just play around with. You know how like you have choices like in BioWare games. You have different choices. You could play around with like just like a visual novel. Some of the interactions, like the stuff you could say, is just pretty hilarious. But it's definitely an underrated gem. But like, you guys want to highlight any like underrated gems or questions about Sakura Wars? What do you guys think?
I don't have any underrated gems other than I've been playing a game this week. I guess I'll bring it up if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I think I sent you guys a text a few weeks ago about Final Fantasy X I bought on Steam. It was on sale.
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy X. Yeah.
Yeah, it was on sale for $15 on Steam. Dude, I thought I was only getting Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2, but you get four games, not just two. Yeah, you get Final Fantasy X. 10 Eternal Calm, 10-2, and Eternal 2 Last Mission. I think.
Is that DLC? Like,
I think those are DLCs too, or standalone. I'm not sure it's DLC or standalone, but it's extra content that I was surprised I got.
Those were
So,
they're not standalone games themselves. They were just those were the re-releases that we never got in America. So
oh, okay,
when
yeah.
they originally came out, a year later they released like the original, like the remake version of the game, but it never came out here. But it is extra content though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I thought it was just gonna be the original game, so which is nice.
When they re-released it, they gave us the better versions, which is nice. But they did the
Yeah,
same thing with Kingdom Hearts remakes, which is
right.
awesome.
Yeah. I started getting really into playing all these Final Fantasy and RPGs after I started 15 and then playing 7. I've been real stuck on them. I haven't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if you guys ever been like stuck in a game that you just keep playing, or a specific type of game that you just keep playing over and over, and you don't get bored of it.
Yeah.
I have that with anime, like literally.
Anime
is for sure. Because anime has so many cliches. Yeah. And like every anime starts to feel the same sometimes.
Yeah, you watch one thing and then literally you go through that rabbit hole of things that are similar to that anime. So I totally get you on that aspect.
Yeah. That's why Sakura Wars is so great, because it's so anime. Like, so anime. Celebration of all anime cliches.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely great. You have any closing thoughts you guys want to talk about?
I think I'm pretty good. I don't know about you guys.
I think we had a good discussion with the way the gaming industry has came up. I'm pretty good as well. What about you, Ron?
Yeah, I think last minute thoughts, we have Unreal Engine 5 stuff.
Oh yeah, why don't we close it out with that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, close it out with some Unreal 5.
So I think it was a couple days ago they came out with Unreal Engine 5. It was a big reveal. Had the CEO of Epic on there, Epic.
Yeah, I think they're the ones that made the engine, I believe.
Yeah, they're the developer.
Yeah. Tim Sweeney came out, was talking about it and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool to see that Unreal Engine 5. Bunch of technical stuff that I was just like, but I appreciate it. But we'll see. I'm excited to see where this engine takes us. It looked in-game. It looked really, really good. And all the footage they showed was in-game. It wasn't, or it was actually playable. Or not playable. I guess, well, actually, yeah, no, I guess it was a playable version of it. So it wasn't, in-game footage or in-engine footage, all that kind of stuff. It was actually what you could play on a PS5. And it looks really, really good. And I was just like, whoa. So, I'm excited.
I was a little mind-blown and impressed when I watched the YouTube video on it. I was like, this is going to be the next gen. I think PC is going to be getting a run for their money for what you're getting with these systems.
That's the thing. That's what they're talking about. They're going back and forth, like saying, hey, this PS5 is going to rival PC kind of high-end PC kind of spec. I'm like, whoa.
Especially with RTX too.
Yeah, exactly. Is it worth building the PC now at this point, or do I just buy the PS5? If it's going to... And that's the thing, I think PlayStations are stepping the game up and they're like, yo, hey, this is what we're going to release. So all you guys, literally, you better step up your game, or else, we're going to surpass you. And, it's going to be a console market again.
Or like a bang for your buck type of thing, for sure. But I think the jump is not going to be as severe from like PS2 to PS3, or it wasn't even that big from PS to PS4. I think I'm going to say that the PS4 and the Xbox One, especially the Xbox One X, are still going to be very relevant consoles for years to come. Until people actually upgrade to a PS5, because the first few games are not going to look really that much better. Usually that's what happens with the kind of like the launch titles of the new generation console. So maybe not until the next couple years after they're released, we'll see a huge user base. But I mean, that's cool with Unreal, though. I didn't see the demo for it, but I know that Unreal Engine 4, I believe most of the games that we've been playing recently, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, are made off Unreal Engine, so it's really cool to see what the next generation version is going to look like.
Everyone uses Unreal, dude. Like any game developer, if you can afford to use their engine, you use it because it's just that good.
Yep.
Oh, and good thing that you brought it up, because what they announced with Unreal Engine 5, if you are a game developer out there, they will not charge you for any of the software until you surpass $1 million in sales. So you can literally make your own game in the Unreal Engine, and they won't take any money until you pass $1 million.
So dude, that opens up the field for indie developers like crazy.
Exactly. So back to that point of entry, that low point of entry, literally you want to leave the industry better off than you found it. So with this, you're going to inspire so many kids to just go out there and just mess around with it. Like, we could get the next Angry Birds kind of thing for some kid that's like 16 years old or something that's just playing around. That'd be super cool. Like, hey, how'd you get your start in video games? Oh, Unreal Engine 5 came out. I tried out their stuff, imported all my different assets, and literally I made a game out of it. And you'll see more indie developers sprouting up, I think, which I'm super for. I love
it. That'd be awesome.
You'll see things like Cuphead. You'll see things like Undertale, all this kind of stuff that are like Shovel Knight, like all these sort of small teams or, solo people working on their own thing. And that could be the next type of industry icon or new character that represents an industry, or it becomes mainstream and becomes a big character. We might see that next wave of it starting with the engine. So
that's a good prediction, Ron. That's a good one. Yeah.
Unreal was so good where you can't even tell it came from the same engine. Like, back in the day, everyone has their own in-house graphics engine. You could see the nuanced differences. That's what was the cool thing about having everyone had different like graphics engine that they're using, because the games look aesthetically good for that engine, and it kind of had the tailor-made feel of that company. That's the only thing I'm kind of wary is are all the games going to start to look a little bit similar graphically now because they are using the same graphics engine?
That was my biggest worry. I wanted to ask Jeff Keighley that because he was on a Q&A about it. But if we see this shift towards the Unreal Engine 5 just because it's the free one to use that everybody is going to start, will all these games literally look the same just because they're utilizing this? But then again, you like you said, you have these developers that have an in-house sort of engine, whether it be like a modified Unreal or modified Crytek engine. So it's just one of those things where we'll see where it goes. I'm hoping that, just because it's one single engine, that there'll be ways that people can kind of alter it.
Make it look unique.
And I think people are going to be able to do their own thing and make it uniquely for their game. I think people can do it,
So.
Like Sega, I believe they use, like for Sakura Wars, I believe I've heard it uses like the Sonic Hedgehog engine or whatever, and I think it looks really cool. It looks totally different. I think that's why some studios want to use their own engine, just because their own aesthetic style, they could probably reach on that or something like that. Or just, I've heard like Unreal Engine's pretty easy to use, so I wouldn't be surprised like most of the industry's going to use it. I mean, they already are. But yeah, it's good news for indie developers for sure, so I'm happy about that.
So shout out to all those upcoming indie devs out there. Whenever, I think they said 2021, but whenever Unreal Engine comes out, definitely try it. We'd love to see it. If you guys are indie game developers out there, hey, if you guys want to send us a code for your game, want us to test it out, by all means.
Up.
Gladly.
An indie podcast and indie developers, let's link up. That'd be sick.
Yeah, heck yeah. I love indie developers.
We do more game
for sure. So.
Yep.
But yeah. All right.
That was good.
So we're all good there, guys?
Yep. We're
good?
With that, we'll close it out. Thank you for listening, guys. Again, if you are new and you got this far in the podcast, we thank you. We appreciate you. And we would like you to share the podcast to your friends and family. Give us a 5-star review if you can. I am your host as well tonight, and I'll see you next time. We are going to close it out with our socials. You can find me at 350Z Time on all my socials or on Twitch. And go ahead, Ron, and go ahead and shout you guys out.
With
go ahead.
Sorry, with mine, you can find all my info, I think, right here.
Ron Kauanoe, right on the Twitch stream as well.
Yeah, buddy.
Ron Kauanoe.
Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. You can find me all on that. So yeah.
Yep. Same thing what Ron said. Find me on Instagram. On I don't have Facebook, but I don't need that. I'm on Twitch. Rolla_F. Hit us up. Play some games with us one day.
At Rolla_F_. Peace out, guys. Yep. Thanks for listening.
Peace.
Peace.